Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about purchasing crystals online. This is a common question that is asked about how to purchase crystals online so that you know that you're getting an authentic piece and you are not getting a fake. So I wanted to just come in and I wanted to give you the guidelines that I follow in order to purchase crystals online, and they do seem to work fairly well for me, so hopefully it will work well for you as well. Every single crystal that you see on this table has been purchased online, and I am going to give you some of my thoughts and what I think in order for you to purchase crystals on your own and that you will be getting authentic pieces. One of the first things you will notice on this table is that many of these pieces are in their natural form. And there is a reason for that, is because it is very difficult. Like here's a piece of celestite. It's very difficult to fake a natural form. Here's a kyanite. All right. So when you're going ahead and purchasing, I usually, when I purchase online, I would like to get them in the most natural form that I can get. Here's the citrine, and here's my Lemurian seeds. I got 2 of them here. All right. So I definitely work on getting them in their natural forms. All right. So what do I do when I purchase these things online? The first thing I do is I make sure that the photo that I am seeing of the crystal is the exact crystal that I am going to be purchasing. I don't want to use, when I deal with these larger crystals, I don't like to use any sort of stock photo. I don't want to hear that you'll be getting, this is just a representation of the crystal you'll receive, because who knows what you're going to get. I want the exact picture, multiple pictures if possible, on the stone that I am purchasing. The second thing that I also look for is I read the description. I read the descriptions to make sure that I know the exact dimensions of that crystal, I know the weight of the crystal, I know the location of the crystal, so that I know where that crystal is coming from, and I know that the picture that I am seeing, I can get an exact size representation. That is probably one of the biggest complaints that I see when I'm looking through reviews of crystals, is that the crystals are smaller than what they anticipated. So you must know your metric system, because most crystals are usually measured in millimeters or centimeters and sometimes inches. And you also, in millimeters, let me just explain, 25 millimeters is an inch. So when you see a crystal that says 25 millimeters, even though that's a big number, it's only an inch. Okay, there's 25 millimeters an inch. So if you see a crystal that says 50 millimeters, 52 millimeters, it's just over 2 inches. Centimeters, the same thing. Be mindful of your metrics. Sometimes they will tell you in inches, but mostly they are done in millimeters. The second thing is know the weight. The weight of them are often weighed in grams, or they're weighed in carats, okay, depending on the stone. So understand your weights as well. So use a converter and stuff in order to, so you have a good idea of the size of the crystal that you are purchasing, so you're not surprised that it comes back smaller than what you thought it was. The other thing would be try to figure out whether or not if there's any sort of like favorability rate, if there's a rating on the seller. I mean, eBay has it, and it's a great tool to use. Know the ratings, read the comments in order to figure out how the seller is, if they're quick in shipping, or if they are actually shipping the item that they say they're shipping. If not, don't be afraid to ask the seller questions if you have questions about it. For instance, my Lemurians, when I purchased them from a guy who dealt direct with the mines in Brazil. And I asked him a lot of questions about these particular pieces before I purchased them. And he answered everything that I did, and he was very responsive. And so when I did purchase it, he sent them right out, and I had no problems. But because I had such good communication with him, I felt comfortable with the crystals that I received. Okay? So those are my biggest things. So make sure that the picture is of the exact stone that you are purchasing, okay? And get as many And hopefully that purchaser or that seller will put up multiple pictures so that you can see here's the front and here's the back and here's the sides and here's the weight and such, and usually the hand is not the most perfect representation because people have different size hands. I mean, if you have a large hand, this stone will look a lot smaller. If you have a small hand, this stone will look a lot larger. So in the description, the size of the stones are very important, and always they will be showing you the best pictures of that stone. Okay. If you're going to do from a stock photo, like I have done for tumbled stones, because I want to buy them in bulk. And like this one is a 1/2 pound of sunstone. Okay. The descriptions are very, very important because you're not seeing the exact stones. You are looking at the stock photo. Know the description, understand what the description is saying, what type of grade they are, and all this stuff. Then go and make sure that you look at the sellers, ratings, and look at any comments and look for the negative stuff to kind of take a peek in order to see whether or not these people are selling something authentic or if they're selling something inauthentic, because they will usually, you will usually see those responses from the people who have purchased. Now, the other thing is know what your stone looks like, okay? Because sometimes they will do, whether it's a stock photo or not, you need to know what your stone looks like. For instance, here's a malachite or malachite, depends. So know what your stone looks like. If you go out online, pull up a bunch of photos of these things and see various representations of what the stone looks like. Know what it looks like, so you know what the authentic piece looks like when it's polished, when it's in raw form, so you understand what the stone looks like. Because sometimes this stone I see a lot of fake stones with this, because you see people selling. Now, I think more now. It used to be that people used to try to pass off the fake ones, and they're quite obvious that they're fake, because this is a very natural striations of the changes. Some of the other ones it looks like Play-Doh put together. And then they try to pass it off as natural. More often than not now, I am starting to see people putting up the real thing that just says, this is, man-made or manufactured, and they don't call it natural anymore. But there still are people who are trying to pass off man-made stones, replicas of the natural stone, and calling them natural. And really, I'm fine with people selling replica stones, just label it as such. So that, because for a person like me who wants a real stone, your stone is not the one that I want. But if I'm doing, like jewelry or something like that, and the naturalness of the stone being real or not is not as important as the piece itself, depending on what you're making, then maybe a replica version is more suited for that situation. But because I want a natural stone, you must know exactly what your stone looks like, so that when you go out online, you will be able to. This is why I always say what the picture should be what the stone is. Okay. I want to buy the stone in the picture. I don't want to buy a representation of what the picture is. Okay. The other thing is talking about, man-made stones, right? So this stone is moldavite, and I have quite a few examples here of it. Okay. This is a stone that only is sourced in one place, which is the Czech Republic. Okay. And China sells an awful lot, but most of that, and I will not buy moldavite from China because this is such an expensive stone. This is a really expensive stone. There are people out there making these stones, passing them off as real because it's easy money for them. And then so people don't know that they're getting fakes. So I try to stick with the source, with the country of source, and I will only buy it from the country of Czech Republic, or I will physically go into a store and purchase this stone so I can handle it and hold it and ask questions about it. I have purchased fake moldavite before, and it is not fun when you get a piece that you realize is fake, okay, because it does feel fake. It feels like glass. Even though this is glass, but there's a special feeling to it. It's like, I don't know. It's a definite, and people can, when you go in, there's like these bubbles. I don't know if you can see them in this particular one. This one actually has some dirt still in it from where it came from. But you know, you have to be able to look, or you can go and have it authenticated and go get it done. But when you get a fake piece, mine was pretty obviously fake. It was just green glass, and that was a bummer. So I stick with the source material. So, and speaking of that, a lot of my stones, if I want to receive my stone as quickly as possible, I will order it from sellers within the United States because that is my location. So if you're in Europe, you probably want to buy from sellers in your countries, or if you're in Australia or any country that you're in, if you buy it from the country that you're within, you're going to receive that package so much faster than if you order it from outside of the country that you live in. I have purchased them from different countries. For instance, I have purchased Sugarlight. I have purchased these beautiful ones from South Africa. So I just found a vendor out there and they sent those in. I have purchased these stones from Russia. These are chariot. And remember, I really loved chariot and I really wanted a beautiful piece. And I searched all over for a piece here in my state and online. And then I found these beautiful pieces from a Russian store on eBay. And I contacted them about these, and this is how I also ended up with the Seraphinite, because they are sourced in Russia, and I ordered them from there. And it took a while to get here, but I've never been unsatisfied with these stones. These stones are very beautiful. They are great, and people always comment on just how beautifully rich in colors this chariot is, because it's sourced from the country that it came from. So if you have the opportunity and you're patient enough, like for instance, I just came back from the Quartzite show and I got this beautiful piece of Larimar, and it comes from the Dominican Republic. I did actually order a piece before the new year for a little bit bigger piece, and I got it straight from the Dominican Republic, but it is taking its sweet time to get here. And of course, you know, I'm impatient, so I bought a piece just so that I could have it. So you have to be really, really patient when it comes from outside the country. Okay? So don't get me wrong. There are stones out there that are man-made that have a lot of beneficial and healing energies. There are a couple of them out there, and some of them are just really beautiful. Just know what you're looking for. Know what you're looking at. Be educated. Do some research, contact the seller, ask questions if you must, so that you can know that you're assured you're going to get a nice, authentic piece. Some of the other things is not to say that you won't find a good deal online and get an authentic piece of crystal. Just be mindful of what you're looking at. Like here's my clear quartz generator, and I bought this online, and the inside is not really totally perfect. But, you know, when you see a totally crystal clear piece that's going for super cheap, obviously sometimes if it's too good to be true, it usually is. And I actually saw a few beautiful, clear, crystal clear generator quartz, and they're just about that tall. And when I picked them up, they were glass, or maybe it was plastic, or I don't know. It just didn't feel right. But when you pick up a crystal, you're like, there's weight to it. It feels good. And when you picked up the other piece, it was light and it just felt glassy. So be mindful of that. So if it is crystal clear, be mindful of it. I mean, I'm sure there are beautifully crystal clear crystals out there, but I'm pretty sure those are pretty pricey because those would be the gemstone qualities. But because I use it for just more energy work, I actually like the imperfections. I like the little insides, the striations, and all the different things. It makes the crystal unique and energetic. So be mindful of that. Just be mindful of what you're doing. Pay attention, read, ask questions, look at the reviews, look at the seller's ratings, look at their websites. So if you are unable to go out and purchase your own crystals physically and you have to go through the online means, you can get some amazing pieces, and you will get gorgeous pieces if you are mindful about what you're searching for. So, all right. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope I've helped give you some ideas of what you need to look for, just some guidelines when you're out shopping. And I hope this helps you. So until next time, we will talk to you soon. Take care. All right. Bye-bye.